Coming to you live from the historic ballroom of the Overlook Hotel, it's the 69th annual Attack of the Killer Podcast Awards. Brought to you by Red Rum Premium Spiced Rum. It's not just murdered spelled backwards anymore. And now here's Jimmy Dalton with our opening number.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host for this evening, Insane Mike. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 98th annual Attack of the Killer Podcast Awards. The only fake award show that won't make any Will Smith slapping jokes. This is our year-end Best of Horror Part 1, the show where we go through our top 10 horror movies from 2022. And this is Part 1 of 2, so we will be doing 10 through 6 on this episode, and then 5 to 1 on the next one. 2022, what a year, right? So many historic moments happened in this year. There was that fake cricket gambling operation. Then there was the creature with the human mouth that washed up on the beach in Australia. Or how about when that goldfish learned how to drive tiny cars? Yes, 2022 was an amazing year. But you know what else was amazing in 2022? The amazing selection of amazing horror movies that amazingly came out in the amazing year of 2022. Now, if you've never heard our year-end top 10 episodes before, we're going to go through each film that are on our list, counting down from 10. And we'll be discussing those films. And, since we're all just friends here, talking freely, there may be spoilers. You've been warned. Now, these award shows are expensive, with all the lighting, catering, tux rentals, cocaine for the green room. That stuff does not come cheap, and we could use your help. You can support the show by going to jointheattackers.com. There you can pick from the different tiers that you can donate to the show. Once you pick a tier, you become what we call an attacker. An attacker is not just a fan of the show, it is part of the Attack of the Killer podcast family. And as a family member, you get stuff. You get bonus episodes, exclusive videos, membership card, certificate, original art by me. You get invites to our watch parties and to our monthly show and tell hangouts, and even be part of our chat that we call the Attack of the Killer Chat.
And it's so popular, I just had to mute it for this episode.
I know, me too.
Oh, my God.
But that might just be too much stuff, Mike.
But wait, there's more. But I'm not going to tell you. You got to go see for yourself. So much cool stuff. So much more. Just go to jointheattackers.com. That, again, is jointheattackers.com. And now here is the list of our presenters for this evening. The podcast crew. He won an award for his work on that movie about Egyptians who go see the doctor for back problems. It's called The Chiropractor. Andy!
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening.
In his acceptance speech, he thanked his own legs for supporting him all these years. Jason!
Hey! Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm excited to hear Mike work on his numbers.
I got 10 fingers. We can do this. He had to present an award to the filmmaker who made the movie about the flat Earth. Ironically, it was at the Golden Globe Awards. Tad!
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
It wouldn't be an award show without this next podcaster. He won an award about a movie he made about a mad scientist who made a creature that was a mix of a penis and a potato. The movie was called The Dictator. Dustin Neal!
I'm contractually obligated to be here, and I have only got about 5. No, I'm joking. I love being here. I'm kidding. I look forward to this every year. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here. This is
Oh.
like the whole reason to do these.
I know. We get Destin back
I
on.
know. Feels like it's the only time I ever get to talk to you. is when we do this.
Pretty much.
Anyway, so the 110th annual Attack of the Killer Podcast Award is also brought to you by Shudder. When you want to do a podcast and when you do a year-end top 10 episode, you turn to Shudder. Everything you wanted in horror streaming in just one streaming service. Attack of the Killer Podcast. We're so awesome that we're going to give you a month of Shudder for free. Now, all you got to do is enter our promo code AOTKP, and you get a whole month of Shudder for free on us. Why? Because we love you. So let's get into it. We're not going to be doing some of the usual stuff.
None of them segments.
We're not going to.
We know what we're going to talk all about what we watched.
I was going to say this whole
right.
thing is
None of
what we
that
watched.
bullshit. Get going.
What a year. What a year.
What a year! But I do want to start off by asking you guys, how do you feel about horror from 2022? How do you feel about the movies from this year?
Well, I think Tad summed it up best in the last few times we talked. We should let Tad tell us.
Everything's sad. It's like, are these filmmakers just reacting to the last 2 horrible years of, the state of the world or what? Because, man, people are angry and sad, but there's some bright spots in these lists, I think, so.
It's going to be interesting because I'm looking at my list right now, and they're not nearly as sad as
No.
As
Mine's not either.
Oh, okay.
You always lean towards comedy, though, too. So.
This is true. This is true. Anybody else has any thoughts about the movies from this year?
Quick scan over there. I don't see a lot of sequels. That always makes me happy. See plenty. Well, okay, there's a few, but
Reimaginings, remakes.
yeah, there's some great original horror on this list.
A lot of original horror this year, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was a little nervous going into it, and also I was listening to last year's episode just today of our 2021 picks, and we posed the same question, and a lot of us were saying how it didn't feel like there was as high quality last year. Not that the quality wasn't
guys worked
good.
well, yeah.
Not the quality wasn't good, but it wasn't anything like super, awesome or whatever. And I was feeling about this year, probably back in September, when I first was looking at my list of what I've watched so far, and I'm like, oh crap, I got a lot of work to do. I didn't even think at that time I had 10 to be able to do a top 10. And even then, I'm just like, I'm not overly impressed with what I got. But one of the great things about doing the show and the marathon season that we now we call
Impose ourselves.
November
to.
and December, yeah, is great because I take it back. I think there was a lot of great, solid stuff this year. So
Yeah, we should give out a mini award to Dustin for coming in with the biggest number.
yeah, what was the final total there?
I see 55.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice work, pal.
Yeah.
You must
that
have
was-
not waited till the last month to watch.
I started probably September, but I feel like everything that I watched that's on my list came out between September and now. Like they just push them all out around that October time, and for some reason a lot this month as well. I don't know what it is.
I think it's just like, with the Oscars, and sometimes they'll push movies out right before Oscar season. I think it's the same thing. They were pushing these horror
our
movies
show,
out
yeah.
for our show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a lot of pressure.
They're just
though.
waiting.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's start talking about our lists here. Let's start with number. How about 10?
That's probably a good place to start. See, this is what I meant. I'm
Fuck,
excited
I was
to see
hoping
you
you were
work
saying. I hope you were gonna say 7.
on your numbers.
He's getting so good at this.
All right.
For the 110th, version of the show, you're finally getting it.
Oh, I should have had you do one of your I couldn't decide on what order to do this year.
Right?
So should have had you do one
random?
of your randomizers.
Is it too late? Or you already have your list already?
I wrote one up real quick,
I'll just-
but
It's all good. It's not a competition, guys.
I know.
Yeah, except for Dustin, he won.
Yeah, biggest cool guy that watched the most movies. Cool.
Cool.
Give him an award.
Hey, I watched all those movies, and you guys are gonna fucking hate my top 10.
Yeah.
I think you say that every
He
year.
does. And hopefully, you're pleasantly surprised again this year.
I'm pretty excited because there's a couple movies on my list that, as watching them, I was instantly thinking of Dustin. So, and I think there's one that I don't even know if you watch. I have to go back and look at the list. So I'm super excited to talk about it. But that won't be for a while. So, why don't we start off with Jason? What's your number 10?
My number 10. I feel pretty good about my list, too. It came together pretty easy. It sounds like you were pushing ones off the cliff all week long, but I felt good about my... Oh, just in the bonus, you're like, this one got pushed out of the list.
Oh, well, I mean, that happens every year.
But yeah,
right?
I felt pretty good. Mine came together. My number 10 film is from Finland and Sweden.
Ah.
Yeah. Is that...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's called Hatching.
Oh, yeah.
A young gymnast who tries desperately to please her demanding mother discovers a strange egg. She hides it and keeps it warm, but when it hatches, what emerges shocks them all. Man, this movie was freaking fun as hell. It was just it just sucked you in so well on like what is happening with this gosh dang egg. Oh, good, we all saw it too.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think?
Well, the fact that it didn't pop up in honorable mention
All right,
might be a good sign.
Yeah.
No comment.
Original as shit, man. I
Really?
mean,
Oh, absolutely.
really fucking cool. Like, even the creature design.
Yeah, it's a little monster movie in lots of ways.
Yeah, a little monster movie, really weird, foreign. Like the tone was really unique
Right.
and different.
It's
Like this
well
is
lit
cool
and
as hell.
bubbly and
Yeah.
all this shit's happening. And
The characters were really well developed between the mother that's trying to keep up with the Joneses and the dad that's pretty much a freaking cuck. Yeah, I mean it's it's a horrible family dynamic, and it's a very modern. I need Instagram likes kind of mom, and it's just. But the way that it's like I said, it's very original and very. I was like, it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
absolutely, and then like, and with no spoilers, but with the ending, like, I'm not saying I didn't know that it was going that way, but like you wonder how it's going to go, and then when it happens, I was still like fucking shocked as shit when the one thing happened. I was like, oh my god, they really,
I didn't know where they were
I
going
was
with
like,
it.
Yeah.
crazy. It was
That's-
a heck of an ending too.
Yeah, it was.
so.
It's when after all the horror movies that we've seen, and through all the years. I mean, it's like when we can't call it like anywhere
Yeah.
near what you think it's going to be. That's the mark of a good film, in my opinion.
Wonderfully original. That's my number 10, Hatching.
Excellent. Awesome. Tad, what's your number 10?
This one I feel like is a Dustin pick because I don't think it's going to be on anyone else's list. And if you even watched it, it probably wouldn't be in your top 22. Why Dustin has the top 22, I don't know. But this one, I don't believe in the term guilty pleasure because I just like things and I don't feel guilty about it. So I'm just going to go with it. Bodies, bodies, bodies. I had a blast with this one. I talked it up when I saw it in theaters. Again, another A24 film. Sorry, Dustin. This is a group of like Zennials stuck in a rich person's mansion getting high and drunk, and it turns into a Twilight Zone episode, sort of, and a whodunit. It's a blast. I never thought a Pete Davidson movie would make my top 10 horror. And
Yeah, shame on you for that.
I know, I love him. I don't care. I don't feel guilty about that either. I think he's
fair.
funny, and
I think he's good.
Oh, I think he's
I like him.
hilarious.
and
Okay.
I love this movie. I don't no apologies. I enjoyed it. Bodies, bodies, bodies. Fun.
It's not out streaming yet anywhere, is it?
It should be because it's on physical disc already, so I'm sure it's out.
You can, but
Yeah, I
still
watched it on
have to pay
streaming.
for it. Yeah. It's not free streaming, if that's what you
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
Excellent. Andy, what's your number 10?
My number 10, and hopefully I see this on other people's list, is Black Phone.
Yeah.
I just think it's so creative because, well, for starters, let's say I love time-oriented pieces, particularly like movies set in the 70s and 80s, and this is set in the 70s, and it's it's an abduction. It's an abduction movie, and the irony of this is back in the 70s, there was a communication breakdown. I mean, it's not like you don't have like Amber Alerts and like cell phones like you do today, but basically it was a form of communication that was, kind of helped him get out of this situation, but it wasn't like a direct line to the police and everything. And I just think the story is just very, very creative, and him just keeping these kids down there, and the dad, there's always like a family dynamic that's really kind of crappy when these come to these things, and this wasn't an exception. But Joe Hill, I mean, he's a chip off the old block, and
For sure.
yeah, I thought it was a really, really good movie.
I mean, the writing of this really felt like a Stephen King thing, so
Yeah.
it's no surprise that it was Joe Hill. Yeah, I
And
thought it was great too, and
just the kid using his ingenuity, just anything that he could do within the room, which is, it's very creative.
well, it's got those really cool layers and things that are set up for the big finale, I guess you could say. But this is my favorite thing Ethan Hawke's ever done. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
right now.
and
I love Ethan Hawke.
and he does such a good job in it. But when you think of Ethan Hawke, you're not really thinking of anything overtly, sinister and evil and anything like that. But in this, he's great.
Yeah, and I think I said it before, and I'll say it again. Kudos to him for being who he is. He's Ethan Hawke, and being in a movie where he is 95% hidden behind a mask.
Hey,
So,
Andy.
Yeah.
What was that other Blumhouse movie that Ethan Hawke was in? What was it called? Oh, Sinister.
He wasn't the bad guy in it, though.
I know, but you literally said, he's never been like sinister, and he was in a movie called Sinister.
Okay, all right.
I thought he was great in Moon Knight
got
too
me.
as the bad dude.
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, he's good in everything.
Yeah,
He
he's
is good.
First Reformed. He's awesome. Yeah,
I
Ethan
guess,
Hawke.
and then Daybreakers, I guess he was in that too, but he was a vampire, whatever.
So it turns out he plays bad guys all the time.
But he's not sinister. Okay,
Yes.
He's not
he's in
The
Sinister,
sinister
but
part-
he's not sinister.
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
not
sinister in Sinister. I
the
gotcha.
sinister of the sinister.
Somebody slap Tad with. Is it?
Oh, please let me be first in line, please.
Hey Andy, that's so good. Ted's got your number tonight. This is great.
Okay, Dustin, number 10.
Can't wait for this.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
We're all good here.
Tad's ready to fire already. Just piss somebody else off.
No, my number 10 is Mad God.
Hey.
I really, really enjoyed this. With everything that I had watched, it was good to put on something that felt nostalgic, even though I had never seen it before, and also be able to drone out at the same time, because we did talk about it. There is no story in this movie. Even though there is a little blurb about there being an assassin going to this underworld to do something, that isn't really that obvious. They just tell you that, I think, just so you can watch all these scenes kind of play out at once. But it just felt like I was, it's Phil Tippett, right? He's the guy that's done RoboCop, Star Wars, any type of stop animation that there was in like the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s or whatever. He's done it. Like, he's the man. And to see this was like his magnum opus or whatever they've been calling it, was really cool. I felt like there was even he started filming this or started making this back in the 80s.
While doing Jurassic Park.
While
how
doing
long
Jurassic
it's
Park.
been.
Okay,
Oh,
so
my.
that's been the 90s.
Long
so,
time
Yeah,
coming, man.
you know, there even though it started back then, and I'm sure he kept doing it until its completion, there's still some innovative stop animation things there with real people and stop animation mixed together. Really cool stuff. Again, like I said, it was nice just to pop this on and drone out, and it's better than a long tool video, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that's my number 10. I thought it was just really cool to see something that looked, like I said, nostalgic.
Yeah, I'm glad this was on somebody's list. I don't know if it's going to show up again, but it just barely got bumped from my top 10. So I was bummed about that because I really wanted to talk about it. It is just visually amazing. The stop animation is so...
Yeah, having not seen it, the fact that a movie without a story is so good visually, it can still carry you for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I mean, it can feel like it drags, because no dialogue, literally no story. But I'm a huge stop motion animation fan, and when it gets creepy and disturbing like this does, it's the visuals just it all pays off.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So for me, man, I'm kind of nervous because I have a feeling I'm gonna get shit for this being so low on my list.
Yeah, let's get them.
Yeah, my number 10 is Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On one hand, I'm just happy you saw it, so that's good.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just want to state it's awesome. It's a great
Yeah.
movie. I loved it. There's
Yeah.
just 9 more that I liked better than it.
Oh, it made your top 10. That's a huge thing. That's
Yeah.
not, to me, it's like they're all so close and packed in. They could all be interchangeable at any time.
Exactly, and I'm surprised
Yeah.
I have not been just sitting here tinkering like I do every single year when we record these, moving movies around.
Yep.
Yep. Nope. Yep.
But it's great. I have a feeling it's going to pop up more tonight. So I guess I won't get into it too much. I'll let somebody else take the reins.
Get into it. Why you liked it?
It's definitely was a very interesting, unique, and fun take on the whole, like, aliens in the sky kind of thing. I read some reviews that were like knocking the
What? On the
creature.
internet?
Yeah, I know, right?
What?
But that was my favorite thing about it. It's like so different.
Jean
and
jacket
unique.
was really fucking cool.
And I will say though the subplot with the kid show and the monkey that kills everybody was freaking amazing. That was probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
It seems like that a lot of people are like they wanted that movie. Like they wanted to know more about that storyline.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just awesome. It's just great. But all right. Well, let's move on then. Jason, what's your number 9?
Number 9. Oh gosh, I'm so
Niner.
I'm so excited to talk about this movie. I'm curious if it'll make anyone else's list. This movie is a movie that has a premise unlike any other film you may ever see in your lifetime because it involves a glory hole. I'm talking about Glorious.
Nice.
After a breakup, Wes ends up in a remote rest stop. He finds himself locked inside the bathroom with a mysterious figure speaking from an adjacent stall. A glory hole in an adjacent stall. Soon, Wes realizes he's involved in a situation more terrible than he can imagine. I know Mike loves this movie because it's one location, basically, one actor.
One location, and pretty much one actor. Like, can you get more minimal?
And did they have to pay J.K. Simmons $1 bazillion to do this little movie?
I don't know. Like,
it's
I
so
think he's cool.
perfect.
I think he's cool enough to be
I do
like,
too.
do this
How much
for
does he make
bare
for the
minimum.
Allstate commercials? You know? I mean,
So he doesn't need money. He's got Allstate money. So.
nah,
so
that's right.
so he can just kick back and do fun little things like this. Yeah.
Yeah, the main star is Ryan Quanten. He's from True Blood. He's great on that show, and he's a little shit on that show, but also in this movie. And you just
Stackhouse.
yep. And there's this just great quote right here is, "Your genitals are of no significance." Well, you don't have to be mean about it. So yeah, so
You thought your human penis is what I needed.
That is
I
such a
love
great
it.
moment
so
when he
good.
said-
It's
Well,
so
it had to
good.
happen in this movie.
You knew it was
It
headed
was
that
gonna
way.
happen. It just, oh man, yeah, another one of like, and like, so as ridiculous and just nuts as this movie and story is,
Nuts.
I loved it even more at the end when you're like, fuck, did that happen? Was it real? Was it not real? And it's so great. Like I'm so proud of Rebecca McKendry, the director. This
Yeah,
is by
hell
far
yeah.
her
Great.
favorite. This is the best thing she's ever done. Easy. I mean, I always like her stuff, but yeah, I'm so proud of her for this movie. It's so great. I just love the openness at the end. You don't know what really happened and what didn't, and so smart, and it had to be so fun to make this. So glorious. I love
Hell
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna show up quite a bit.
Okay, good.
But yeah. This I've always loved J.K. Simmons, but I think this cemented it. This is like now I want to meet this man
Yep.
kind of situation. So good. So good. And this, like, I guess if it was handled by anybody else, I mean, if you look at everything that happens in this movie on paper,
Yeah.
it could have been like what Tad said of horror movies of 2022, like really
Yeah.
sad and dark because it doesn't
It could
doesn't
be.
end well,
Right.
and it doesn't paint the best picture
It's
for our
not
protagonist.
a happy subject at all.
No.
No, and he's no. Yeah.
But the movie is so fun and funny and got some cool gore and yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Handled very well.
Dustin, did you see this one?
I
can't
did.
remember.
I did watch it.
Okay.
It didn't make my 22. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. All right, so let's see here. Who is next?
Tad, I believe.
Tad. Okay, Tad. What's your number 9?
Well, you apologize for it being so low on your list earlier. My number 9 is Nope. Jordan
Oh,
Peele's
okay.
Nope.
Oh.
It's tough because we have 3 major films out of Jordan Peele, and to say this is my least favorite is doing it a disservice because that's like saying my least favorite John Carpenter movie because it's still fantastic, and you don't necessarily have to make comparisons, but I think all 3 of his films have made my top 10 when they come out, and this is no exception. I really enjoyed it. Had a blast. Really cool concept, really cool execution. Love the cast, and I can't wait to see what he does next.
Sweet. All right, so I believe it is Andy. What is your number 9?
My number 9 is Smile.
Ooh,
Yeah.
mine is also Smile number 9.
Nice.
Go together.
Nice.
We're all smiling now.
Yes. Yeah, I got to see this in theater with a double feature with Halloween Ends, and I was
No
very
wonder you like it so much.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Oh.
I was the only one in the theater, which is always nice.
That's the best. That would make my number 1 just having that situation. Any
Regardless
movie.
of the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah, I
treat.
mean it's but yeah, it's got a lot of great stuff in here. I think I said it reminded me of It Follows a little bit, but it's more to do with trauma following you, and just these people are eventually
Loved it.
committing suicide. I mean, it's got great gore in it. I mean, it's just like, even though it's a hallucination, Cal Penn, just ripping his face off
Ugh.
was just so damn gnarly. Um, and a lot of these these people, just like the girl at the beginning, just grinning from ear to ear, and she's got this shard
Yeah.
from this vase, and she's just she's taking that jagged fucking thing and just gouging her neck open. Yeah, it's and it was also really good. The guy, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy, he plays A-Train in The Boys.
Yeah.
It's good to see him, getting other,
Right.
different roles. Um, the therapist, where she hallucinates, her being her friend, and she's just sitting there, just smiling at her, walking over that couch, and she's got drool coming down her chin, scaring the hell out of her, and just yeah. A lot of the scares in this were effective, and yeah, I had a good time with it. So
Yeah, this probably wouldn't have made my top 10 had it not been for the end. I don't know if we've all seen it or not. I guess I won't spoil it.
We
but
watched it for the show, so go ahead.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Let it rip.
Where the monster just eats her whole, it pretty much blew me away because I had no idea that was going to happen or get even close to that.
Yeah.
And honestly, with these, who did this? Was this Paramount or was this a big company did this?
I think it might have been Paramount.
And I feel like when they do these bigger budget horror movies, the ending is always kind of in a gray area. It might end with a question mark.
Yeah.
But this is just like, nope. She just gets eaten by it just gets gulped up, and I loved that idea
Tortures
because it.
herself, and
Yes, yes. So I don't know. It was a lot of good gore. I'm with Andy on almost everything there that he said. So
We talked a little bit about this one on the show, but it was actually like relatively small budget, and it made its money back like times 10, to the point where the person who got dropped from Warner Brothers DC that James Gunn replaced, now he is seeing his own like horror branch at Paramount. They like saw those dollar signs and they're like, we're gonna start our own. Yeah, so I don't know. I discussed a bit on the show. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, more horror is always good, but also like the idea that they saw those dollars and they're like, now we need to franchise this and make it a thing. Like, just make original good horror. We don't have to make a Smile universe. Please don't do that.
a Smileverse.
Yeah. We just don't like it. It bums me out that they're like, they took a chance and then they see the dollar signs, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully they do it right. Let's just hope that for the best. Be optimistic. We'll have some of those films on our list next year.
yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, my number 9 is a sequel.
All right.
Yeah. It's Terrifier 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. It's probably low. I mean, I love the first movie so much, and this one's really good too. It probably lost some points for me just because it really goes off the rails with creating a new a mythology for everything that's going on.
The sword scene.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that, and if it wants to go that route, that's fine. It was just off-putting to me because that's wasn't what I would have wanted. But it's fine. I mean, hey, as long as we got a lot of gore and Art the Clown, I'm there. You could put him in space and I'll be fine. Because oh my god, and I even think I love Art the Clown even more after 2. There was some very audible laugh out loud moments watching this movie while still having goosebumps from watching this dude. I mean, oh man.
To me, this one was light years better than the first. I mean, I've been a critic of the first. I think the only one on the show that did not at all like the first movie, and I saw this in theaters and almost went in not wanting to like it. I'll admit, on just sort of like, I'm seeing this just to say I saw it so I can dunk on it. And I was like, I came out enjoying it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Art the Clown after the first one, but the second one I will say, yeah, it's better. But that's just me. But I guess the biggest issue I had is why is it so long? Like
Right.
it's just so long.
yeah. That
Yeah, it
whole
was-
clown cafe commercial could have been cut way the fuck down.
Oh, yeah.
Just cut out the whole mythology thing. Like Mike was saying, I do not need a sword and sorcerer story thrown in at the end of a
Yeah.
crazy clown slasher. What are you doing? But that lead actress was fantastic. I loved
Yeah,
her.
she was great.
But you could have cut that whole storyline and trimmed here and there and made a normal length movie. Yeah.
There was like, I swear, like 10 minutes of just dancing in the club. I'm like, that just seems like, I don't know, inexperienced.
My
editing.
hypothesis
Poor editing. Poor
is that
editing.
It's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this movie's made by some independent filmmakers
Right.
that we know the dudes too, and like it's just you're not having that big studio pushing you to trim and cut and trim and cut, and I think that's probably would be my guess of what at the end of the day why it probably ended up longer than it should have.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some fat that could be trimmed for sure. And again, I guess I don't really care if they go with some weird supernatural mythology that they're trying to create. It really felt here. I'm going to say this with the whole thing with the sword and her dad, with the drawing pad. There's obviously something going on there that is all connected with this family to Art the Clown and what have you. But and then whatever the frick was the kiddie show commercial thing, whatever all that was. It really felt Phantasm-y to me as far as Phantasm the film series, because none of it gets answered and explained. It's like, let's give a bunch of weird stuff that we're gonna keep you hanging until the next one, and the next one maybe will answer one or two of these questions, but give you 5 new questions
Right.
to lead you to the next one, which is how I've always felt about the Phantasm series. So, but come on, the best scene, my favorite
bedroom?
scene. No, well, that's awesome on a gore level, but my favorite Art the Clown moments are there in the costume shop.
Yeah.
Oh, I was laughing my ass off at him in the costume shop. It was so
You can
funny.
tell that. I don't know if anyone has more fun than that dude playing Art the Clown. I mean,
Oh,
geez,
yeah.
that guy, I think, is a pig in shit, just the happiest, having a blast on set. I mean, seriously, like, you can just tell it shines through. Like, I don't even. I think I'm not a big fan of the character, but it's hard to resist, especially in this movie where it's just like, I don't know. He just seems
You
to
feel
really
his
enjoy
energy.
it. Yeah. He puts his all into that for sure.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm ready for part 3. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna be coming. It made a boatload of money for him. So
All right. So, man, 2 out of the way already. What's going on? It's just flying by. We're all ready to move on to number 8.
Number 8?
Yeah. So,
All
Jason, what is your number 8 best horror movie of 2022?
Okay, so I did go back and forth on this next one quite a bit, but I ended up going with this one. It is a sequel, but unplanned. It's also a period film from 1918. It's called Pearl.
nice.
Nice.
In 1918, a young woman on the brink of madness pursues stardom in a desperate attempt to escape the drudgery, isolation, and lovelessness of her life on her parents' farm. Everything's great. It's such a weird thing, this movie, to just be a sequel that goes way back. It's a neat, fun way, whether it was planned or not planned, right? But for me, 100%. I mean, I love all of it. Mia Goth's amazing. It's all her, and she's wonderful. But that 9-minute dialogue scene at the end is just the greatest thing that happened this year, is what I think.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
award
she's-
worthy.
Fuck yeah, it is. Sucks you won't get it, but
I'll say this: the Academy posted that dialogue, that
Really?
monologue, on their like social media pages, and people lost their damn mind.
Fuck yes.
Wow.
Sweet.
Oh man, seriously. If I know we've all seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, I went to the theater.
I have
Me
not seen it yet.
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just went to the list and
Yeah,
saw.
I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I have a feeling it will pop back up
I do
later.
too. I know.
All right, Tad, what's your number 8?
My number 8 has been mentioned already. It is Hatching.
Nice.
Just a blast, weird, out there. Thank you, Dustin, for making me watch this one.
Yeah,
The poster is really fucking cool, and so I was like, that can it can go either way, because this movie could have been awful if it wasn't in the right hands and handled
Yep.
correctly. It
Yeah,
could
that's
go
true.
one of two ways, and it went the right way. And for me, just got to give it worlds of credit for just being weird. I love it. It's one of those things that I just will keep recommending to people just to hear their reactions. It's like
Yep.
those people that are always asking, what should I watch on Hulu? Watch this. Go give it a go. I'd love to hear what you think.
I mean, when you first hear about it, you talk, it almost sounds like it could have been like a trauma movie. This is a girl that finds a bird that transforms into her. I mean, it's crazy, but it worked out so well.
Yeah, it took me 2 times to watch it. I started it really late one night, and I'm like, oh, it's reading shit. And I didn't get very far, and then when I asked Dustin to give me some more recommendations, and he brought it up again, I was like, all right. And then I went back. I'm like, so happy that I toughed it out. All that reading.
See, when I watched it, I didn't realize it was a what country again? Finland film, and I had it set on English, and the English version is the
Audio descriptive or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
is-
yeah, that's
yeah.
weird as shit.
Yeah. And I'm
too
like,
weird.
what's going on? How do I turn this off?
Is this a movie?
Yeah,
I think
then I
Hulu
look at
auto
the-
sets it to that.
It did.
It
too,
did
yeah.
automatically, yeah. And so I went to audio options. The only other option was Finnish or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not watching this. And what? And then I'm like, well, so I'm messing around. And I click on it, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. The lips are actually matching to the Finnish version. So
I think one thing we haven't really mentioned about it is like, for as crazy and whatever it is, like it's actually a sort of touching coming of age story where a girl who's has a pretty much horrible home life, where like your mom's is sort of a not deadbeat, but just absent mom who's more obsessed with other people's.
Selfish. And
Yeah, very selfish, and dad, is getting
Sucks.
thrown to the side, and her mom's living through her with her, gymnastics, and the only bad thing I have to say about it is that they killed the dog, and
yeah.
that's always a bummer. But other than that, yeah, it's just like they handled that the coming of age part really well too. I really felt for her, which made you sort of feel for her when she starts, nurturing this egg as her own, and then shit hits the fan, and it's like, what does she do? It's taking out people that she loves, and it's like, it's. Yeah, well done, well crafted for such a crazy. If you read it on paper as to what it is and describe it to someone, you would never think it'd be so good. But yeah, really fantastic.
all right. Yeah, it is really good. I agree. Didn't make my top 10 though. Yeah,
It's okay.
Hey, fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
it
Yeah,
happens.
you can be wrong. It's cool.
No.
You're
That's good.
Andy, what's your number 8?
I am kind of neck and neck with Jason on this one. My number 8 is also Pearl.
All right.
Just everything down to the story, this origin story of this character, and it like right at the beginning, it almost felt like I was watching a Turner Classic movie.
Yeah.
The music is stellar. The story is great, and like you said, that whole monologue that she gives, and just even watching the credits just watching her smile and just go through this,
Oh, fuck.
completely different range of emotions where she's crying, and it's just like she you can tell that this woman's psyche has just been unraveling for quite a long time, and that it only gets worse from there, and it's just I really really enjoyed this movie.
I'm dying to see it. I really want to see it. I just find it interesting that for nothing of like love and affection for this movie, yet it's so low on your guys' list so far. That just
Only two.
makes me-
Only two is this.
That well, yeah, I said so far. Just makes me curious to see what, as much as you guys have gushed about this movie, what lies ahead.
I
exciting.
know, right?
Well, I'm a big Ty West fan, so
Oh, me too. Me too. All right, Dustin, number 8.
My number 8 is Prey.
All right.
yeah,
Another
there we
period
go.
piece.
Yeah,
I was just so psyched to see the Predator back on the screen and kind of like a new and refreshing story. This could be hopefully just is a standalone story. Hopefully they don't try to franchise this period out, even though at the end of the movie they kind of maybe hint at it. I just thought the Native Americans that star in the movie are excellent.
Fuck yeah.
definitely.
Just how brutal the Predator is. I mean, this is kind of like it takes you back to not necessarily beat for beat for the first one with Arnold, but it I don't know, it just kind of like reinvents the Predator and what he's able to do and how brutal he is and how he's the hunter and.
He's more hand-to-hand combat in this than he is
yeah,
anything.
for
He's
sure.
not really like using, he's not sniping anybody.
Yeah. It's like the thrill of the game for him. And this would have been higher had there not been some clunky CGI stuff with the bear and I think the mountain lion at the beginning. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good either. So it's kind of like that in between. The main actress in it is amazing. She's wonderful.
Amber
She does
something, I can't remember her name.
she does such a good job. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of inspiring. She does
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
does so well. Like I said, it probably would have been a little bit higher had not been for those few CGI effects. But man, does this have some Gru in it? And I was loving it, and I can't wait to go watch it again. We watched it when it came out. It was a Hulu, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I had a couple years ago sworn off all Hulu horror movies. I was never going to watch a Hulu horror movie ever again. And this is
Not a bad year.
is a Hulu horror movie. So
Well, I think this was originally meant to go theatrical, and then that little pandemic thing happened. So
Yeah.
to give it credit, it probably wasn't developed by Hulu, and in other countries it's on Disney Plus, which I just fucking love. How cool!
Wow.
Yeah, stream. You're scrolling through and you got like Winnie the Pooh and Prey. I love it.
Yeah, I love this movie too. You're gonna hear more from me on that later on. I love how this movie is so well done.
It's a good movie, not just a good Predator movie.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
That's my point. This is
Yep.
like a really good period piece, and oh yeah, there's a Predator.
right. Yeah.
And there's tip of the caps to the preceding films as well. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
This
Yeah.
is easily my favorite Predator sequel, and it's hard to say it's better than the first because it wouldn't exist without the first. But I think it's, I don't know. I'm
Well-
not going to say anything else.
Well, screw it. I was gonna save it. I was gonna save it for later, but I'll just come right out and say it. This is my favorite Predator movie. I'll take
okay,
it over
I'll let
all.
you say it. I'll let you say it.
That's bold, man.
Here's what I gotta say.
It's the
about
best made. It's clear. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's the best made film
I-
franchise.
I love the Predator movies. I love the Predator creature, the concept, all that stuff. But I've just never been the biggest fan of the franchise. So, the first Predator movie's great, but I can take it or leave it. But this one really stuck with me. So there you go. With that said, though, and since I'm already talking, I'll share my number 8. This is the movie that bumped Mad God off the list because it's the last one I saw before we recorded. Just saw it Sunday night. Oh my God, I loved it so much. The Sadness.
The sadness. I knew that'd make your fucking
Oh hell yeah! Holy crap! Oh
Yeah,
It makes Art the Clown blush, right?
it's got to, right? Hell yeah! It makes him gag a little. It's got to be. Oh my God! I've never seen so much blood like on the guy on the train when he gets stabbed in the neck. Oh my God!
It's like itchy and scratchy levels.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, this movie's so fun.
Yeah, it almost
disturbing.
it almost gets to the point where it starts to get funny. I mean, it's just like it's so absurd.
Oh, just especially when the infected people just start being like nasty and vulgar, and it's freaking hilarious. It is freaking hilarious, but disturbing at the same time. There's the scene. Oh, I don't want to be spoilery, but I got to share this story. Brandy and I are watching it, and it's you got the girl in the wheelchair who got stabbed in the eye.
Yep, here we go.
And then the one guy shows up and starts undoing his pants, and I look at Brandy. I'm like, he's doing
that, isn't it? Yeah.
He's gonna do his thing. And she's like, what? And sure enough, and she looks at me. He's like, how did you know? I'm like, I guess I'm just as sick fuck as the
Yeah,
this movie. There's actions in this movie that would be dialogue in a Rob Zombie movie. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how like Robert Rodriguez's son like wrote Shark Boy and Lava Girl or whatever. I wonder if like another middle schooler like wrote the dialogue and what would happen in this movie.
And then
what
he
the
takes her
grown-ups say,
eyeball
right?
out with an umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But talk about a downer though.
Yeah. I was trying to explain this to Jason without like spoiling it, and I'm like, imagine 28 days later, but the infected enjoy killing and fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's a
kind of like
doozy.
it's a hardcore version of like the Crazies and Record.
Yeah.
Like if they had like a hardcore nasty sex baby.
And I wanted to eat all their fucking food too. I'm like seeing all this delicious looking food on the screen. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
All that delicious food melting onto that one guy's face, with the
The fryer. The fryer. Yeah.
yeah.
Skin just melting off his side of his face.
And then she starts ripping it off his
Yeah.
face. Jesus Christ.
Oh, so cool.
Gnarly.
Yeah, it was pretty freaking fun. The story was fun. The gore and violence was amazing. And I mean, I'm glad I watched it, but it's definitely not on my list because of the vulgarness. It's too much. But
that was beyond your.
Yeah, that's
Jason
not
has
okay.
morals, okay,
Yeah.
Mike?
No, they
Yeah.
went too
The
far.
rest of
with
us
a lot
don't.
of that, but
Yeah.
but the fun stuff was fun for sure. So I'm not shocked at all that it's on your list. It's just crazy enough to be there.
All right, then. Since it's not on your list, then what's your number 7 already?
Number 7. Well, I flopped Pearl
You do that.
with this one, so it's X. X
Okay.
definitely.
X gonna give it to you.
So you're
Thank
saying
you.
you like
Marks the
X better
spot.
than Pearl?
I do like X better than Pearl. I had
Interesting.
Pearl first, or I had X. I had it the other way for a second. I think it was just recency. But then I like pulled up the trailers and watched them again. I'm like, no, X, absolutely, I like way better. Just that 70s grindhouse, fucking
You bet.
just dirty ass movie.
Yeah.
We're spoiled, man. We got 2 Ty West films in 2022.
Well, you know what?
Amen to that.
It's about goddamn time, though, right? It's like he's making up for lost time.
Yeah.
And I'll take it. Keep giving them to me.
Hell
All of
yeah.
them.
Definitely agreed.
Yeah, making porn. That's also great. So,
And Kid Cudi, like you just got done saying that the sadness too vulgar.
Too
Next,
vulgar.
we're gonna talk about a porn, a movie
Give me that
where they're making a
give me that
porn.
smut though.
Yeah, but at
That's-
least that was all voluntarily.
yeah.
Everybody
But man,
working
it's
on that movie.
like Mia Goth and Jenna Ortega are like our new scream queens, right? And they're both in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah, big fan. Big fan. I assume
Loved
it'll
it.
be on some lists. So.
Oh yeah.
That's my number 7.
Tad, what's your number 7?
Well, we're getting at that point of the night where we're all crossing. Number 7
Yeah.
for me was the sadness. I have no morals. Give it to me. Give me all the blood and guts. I turned this on and I was so glad. One night, me and Nikki were gonna watch it, and she was like, "I don't want to read subtitles," because she was like multitasking. I don't remember what she was doing something else, and I was like, "Okay." I'm so glad we saved it for another night where she was not in the room, because I don't think she would have enjoyed it as much as me. But, man, yeah, balls to the wall, just never lets you breathe for a second. I mean, it kicks off right away and has cool mopeds and good food and lots of death. So it's checking all kinds of boxes for me. And again, some of these I have a hard time saying, like, I enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, I had fun watching it, but man, there's some really dark shit in here, and I can understand why it didn't make Jason's list.
Yeah.
It can be tough.
Oh, yeah. Andy, what's your number 7?
Tad's got me dead to rights. There's a lot of crossover here, but my number 7 is Glorious. I really enjoyed it. I think there's been a lot of resurgence in, the cosmic horror between, Annihilation and Color Out of Space. I know there's a few more that I'm probably missing, but I think this was done really, really well. And just, like I said, it was, for as bare bones and simplistic as it was so freaking effective and so funny, when he's trying to cut his liver out and he's just like, it's on the other side. There was so many good parts to this, just in terms of comedy, and just there's a real big hairpin turn when it, according to our main character, that I don't want to spoil because I want people to watch this, but just really, really good. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised, when I watched this, because I was just like, when I heard, the synopsis, I was just like, are you for real? This is, I'm gonna sit and watch a guy talk to a fucking, sex hole in a fucking, in a rest stop bathroom. That's what this movie's about. But, it's definitely worth your time.
So you hear the premise and you're turned off, and I hear the premise and like, ooh, I gotta see that.
I was gonna say I came on a month ago or so, and I talked about it on What We Watched, and I was like, guys, J.K. Simmons does the voice of a god, and he's speaking behind a glory hole in like a bathroom at a rest stop, and you guys, and I see that Andy was like, I don't know, and Mike was like, pushing play right away.
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much. I could not get home fast enough that night.
Yeah, and truth be told, I'm glad I took a chance on it. It's really good.
Yeah, fucking cool.
Very, very much. Dustin, number 7.
My number 7 is also The Sadness. I'm with everybody. You've all pretty much said it all. It's just that balls to the wall craziness. Once it starts, it doesn't let up until the very end of the movie. And I think I probably watched this at the right time, in the right mood. Had I been any different, I don't know if it would have made my list, but I think it was just, I was ready for something to be, I guess, crazy. I'm like, show me something, come on, press play.
It's answered.
And it definitely did. Yeah, for
Careful
sure.
what you wish for. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know if I would sit down and watch this with like a group of friends or anything, but
there's-
First date, definitely. First date
There's
movie.
a,
Yeah.
there's a bucket of babies in this one.
I'm not sure what the right scenario is. I think it's by yourself and in between two movies that that you're maybe watching that evening, and then that way because it's not your first movie and it's not fucking you up that way, and it's not your last movie, so
I
put it
think-
in between something.
This
So-
is like a movie that you watch after like a really shitty day at work, and you're really goddamn angry.
You're
Selling it to everybody.
So am I the only twisted fuck here that watched it with his significant other?
I
was
was so
happy
glad
about
Michelle
it.
was sleeping.
Yes,
I'm like,
that's-
please don't wake up and look at the TV.
Jason felt like he was that like 12-year-old that snuck out to the
do.
living room and he's like looking over his
Please don't wake
shoulder.
up.
Yeah.
Good old days of scrambled late night show. All right, so okay. Oh, it's me. Number 7 for me. It's been mentioned before, but I had it much higher on my list. Black Phone.
Nice.
The black phone.
Yes, so good. I don't know.
What do you like
Black
about it?
courtesy phone at the front desk.
Well, 70s. That's always cool. Again, I love
Serial
how
killer vibe.
Love the score.
score was great. Yeah, Ethan Hawke amazing. I love the look of his mask and stuff too. Nice and creepy.
It was a neat way to do a serial killer with a mask like that. That's not normal.
It was very sinister.
Too late, Andy. Too late.
Yeah, well,
And again, I like how everything comes together. I love it. It feels like I love movies that end up being like a puzzle, where you get all these separate little pieces and then they're put together for certain change. Again, I'm trying not to be spoilery here, but where those pieces come together to give us the third act. And
Yeah, it's
and you're
cool. Like the whole uncle part,
yeah,
right? Or the brother. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. But just like all the conversations he has with people in the
Okay.
basement,
Yep.
and how
Yeah, it's like
All
Why
of those-
Signs is such a great movie.
all of those things fail, but they
For a
turned out to
reason,
be
yeah.
turned out to be right. He just was doing it wrong.
Quit spoiling.
I'm
spoiling.
I'm trying not to be spoiled. I'm trying to be cryptic about it, but
I feel like almost all of our. I mean, that was a huge movie. All of our
Right.
listeners have probably seen that by now. But yeah, this one I have a little special place in my heart because they did a house based on it in Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
And there was this really cool scene I thought was genius and on their part, and it's literally the kitchen, and they had a dummy with the mask on, as the what do they call him, the grabber, and
that's right.
and the sound of like snoring, coming from a speaker,
Shit.
and there's nothing in the room that moved, not one actor.
Oh, my
but it was the scariest room in the entire thing because people would creep through it assuming it was an actor, and there was no one there. But it was like
brilliant.
they're like, I swear it's breathing. They're freaking out, and it's just like the movie where they're trying to creep through the room and not have the actor get them and like hear them, but there's no one there. It's so genius.
I'd be tiptoeing through that bitch like it was a minefield. I mean,
It's just fucking
creepy
cool.
as hell.
I was very curious how they were going to turn this into a house, and they did a great job just with really simple scenes. One of the things you did was walk through like a room of black balloons that you had to like push out of your face and stuff. That was cool. Like, and they had like sound effects of like spray paint, and really simple, phones ringing, and yeah, cool stuff.
Very cool. Excellent. So, Jason, it's time for number 6.
It's our last round of the episode, right?
Yep.
So, this movie, I added to the list near the end. I'm not sure if it counts, but it's still pretty high on my list. But I love the hell out of it. There's a lot of horror-ness to it, a lot of gore and blood and guts, and I can't not put a Robert Eggers movie on my list. I'm talking about The Northman. Of course, A24. as well. But
I dug this movie.
yeah, I mean, any kind of fantasy shit, I love it. I freaking love it. I mean, it's Vikings. I never watched that show or anything, but like, just Alexander Skarsgård just kicking some ass, just cutting people up, and just being
With the
a badass.
worst fucking haircut.
Well, it's got Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke again, Anna Taylor-Joy, Willem Dafoe. It's great cast. Robert Eggers. It's dark. It's it's gross and bloody. And
It's weird because there's a scene where Defoe's farting.
no, that's the other one. Stop it. It's not the lighthouse turd.
No,
But
this
anyway,
has. You don't remember the scene in The
actually,
Northman?
I think I do.
He's teaching like the young kid how to howl and act like a wolf, and he farts. And yeah,
Anyway, I
But,
loved it. I know it's not going to be on anyone else's list, but
I really enjoyed the movie. I sort of hate this. I'm not a Viking like that era movie fan at all. I find that stuff incredibly just boring for some reason. But him doing it, I was like, I'm in. I'll go check it out. Really enjoyed it. I just didn't make my list for horror. It was really good. Just didn't. But I can see why it made your list. Yeah,
cool.
Sweet.
good movie.
Tad, number 6.
Well, my number 6 is not that surprising. And pretty high. I'm guessing it might not even be on anyone else's list at all. But Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Hey,
Y'all know I love
Bagos.
Christmas horror. Joe Bagos' last 2 movies, Bliss and VFW, have made my top 10s. So it's inevitable that when he makes a Christmas horror, it's going to get right up there. I actually liked the things that most people seem to hate about it. I really loved the chemistry between the 2 leads at the beginning. I felt like the dialogue was almost
So great.
it felt more raw and real to me than movie dialogue, but I thought it was a blast. And I mean, a killer robot Santa. Even it didn't really feel very robotic, to be honest. But I love the other things people hated. They were like, I hated the low lighting and only using like Christmas lights to light the thing, and it's over the top neon. And I'm like, that's what I love about it. It's grimy and dark and weird, and he has his very own distinct ways of doing this kind of stuff where it still feels very low budget, and this thing just wouldn't fucking die, and it kept coming for her, very Terminator-esque in that way, and it was mean and nasty, and I love this one. Another great Christmas horror to add to the annual list. So right on, Joe Bagos. Thank you for Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Well, he straight up was making Terminator, but with a Santa Claus. It was Terminator at Christmas, because there were several moments in this movie. It's like, okay, he's at a police station now. When did I see that before? Okay, the final fight at the end, the robot is crawling by its arms. Where have I seen that before?
Now it has like glowing red eyes instead of real.
Exactly.
The plot was paper thin, where it was like the government was using this robot they use for like battle now as Santa Clauses.
Right.
It's like so stupid, but that's maybe what I'm okay with. That's very 80s, because that would be.
It's a battle Santa.
Well, you know that plot point reminded me of Small Soldiers, the Joe Dante movie, because that was the same thing. It was like
that's what I'm saying. It's like
technology.
Explaining it, it's very ED, like it's very RoboCop, just like implausible, stupid thing that would have just been perfectly fine in the 80s, and now we nitpick it, but I'm okay with it,
But why her?
I almost wish George Wendt was at the bar though, right?
Where was he? Like
he should have been at that bar.
He's been at the other 2.
Just drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many of us want to go shopping in that record store, right?
That was the only
And the
unbelievable
toy
thing
store.
in the movie.
Yeah, Dustin's right.
Was it packed on Christmas Eve?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
right.
boy.
Yeah, independent,
Clearly a
like
movie.
punk rock record store, and it's
Looks like they had
it's a
like
packed
a
house.
lot of horror movies and Vinegar Syndrome titles there and whatever.
They
and
did.
whatnot.
Oh yeah,
sad,
black
right.
light, like splattered all over the walls and stuff.
That was more unbelievable than a killer robot Santa.
Yep.
And did you notice in the store too? They had written on the wall, "Lemmy is God."
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Airheads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that an Airheads reference? 'Cause I took it as an Airheads reference.
Well, then she
Yeah.
even later and talks about Lemmy and about they're talking about Christmas songs and stuff, and she's like, well, Lemmy was Motorhead, and and I can understand completely if people loathe that dialogue because it's very hipster, trying very hard. I get it.
Yeah.
That,
And-
but
but I'm
that
fine
was the
with it.
dialogue I enjoyed when
shit.
their nerd banter back and forth about music. I was all
Right.
into
Movies.
it, and like and they're talking about like the best Christmas songs or whatever. And Brandy at one point turns to me, he's like, "You know all these songs, don't you?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
Well, there's one part that I know that Tad absolutely did not like in this movie is when the chick said that she liked Blair Witch 2 better than the
Yeah.
first one.
But
Wait
no,
a minute.
I liked that because I thought it was so funny because it's like this. That's
it's
the
a comedy
hipster
movie.
answer. That's the
I was
hipster
gonna
answer.
say, like, fucking
Ironically, like
Tad is
garbage.
probably
That's what-
squirming in his
No.
seat right now.
No, because they're hipsters and they have to ironically like bad things, like Blair Witch 2. Okay, so
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. Oh yeah. So yeah,
Well, I'm glad it's on your list.
I'm
man.
glad it was on your list too, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me because this was another one I was like, man, it sucks it's not on my list because I want to talk about it so bad, but I should have known it would be on Tad's list. I
There it
mean,
goes.
Christmas horror,
Joe Bagos. Chris crosses off all the boxes for me.
heck yeah. Andy, what's your number 6?
Nothing really more can be said about this one. My number 6 is The Sadness.
All right.
I mean, I
Fuck
Oh,
yeah.
I assume it was number one.
I friggin' love this movie. I mean, just like my God. I mean, it was just like the bar got raised like every time you turned around a corner. I mean between like the stuff with the fryer, and then you've got these little asshole soccer players ramming a guy's nutsack into barbed wire that's wrapped around a pole. I mean, just
And
like,
then
my
he's like,
God.
and then it turns out he's liking it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
geez.
was not. That was.
Did you? The big question? Did you watch this with Danielle?
No, I did not. She was like,
Good
she was
thinking.
looking at her-
Good thinking.
I'm the only one, and I'm proud that I made her watch it. That's, what's that say about me?
It
That you found the
traumatized
right
Bob-
one. I don't know.
It traumatized Bob a little bit. Though,
Yeah,
right there.
sure.
Oh yeah, man. Bob was bouncing off the fucking
Bob's a
walls.
Awesome. All right, Dustin, number 6 for you.
My number 6. I purposely stayed away from this movie as much as I could. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't read any reviews. I didn't want my opinion to be swayed by anything somebody else was already saying and hating on it. My number 6 is Halloween Ends.
All
And
right.
I really, really liked this. I mean, it's my number 6. It's right in the middle of my list. When that movie starts, it's kind of out of left field with their story and what they're doing with this kid that you're following. And at first you're like, why are they following this kid that's done something that's done a mistake? And it just keeps following and it just keeps following him. And it kind of all ties together. I thought it was like a nice, neat little package of a movie. I don't know if it's necessarily a nice, neat package for an end of a Halloween series.
Exactly.
But,
Where my
um,
problem.
I
It's
do
a separate
think
entity. I think it should be.
exactly, yeah. If they were gonna okay, we're gonna make more, then I think people probably would have been a little bit easier on this because I did go and read a lot of reviews, and this movie, wow, people really hated it, but people really hated the last one too, and I really liked the last.
Me
the
too.
second
Me
one.
too.
Yep.
I just, like I said, I didn't have anybody swaying my opinion. I was purposely staying as far away from this as I could. And man, did I have a lot of fun with it. I know people complain about screen time for Michael Myers. Honestly, I felt like they did him just fine. I mean, he's an old man in this, and he's very beat up, and he's been through trials, and he was beat in the street. In the last one. I mean, he's not gonna be okay if he is just a man. I just thought it was so good. I loved that kid that they follow. You know, that kind of
Yeah.
they pass the mantle to.
Corey
Cody
was
Cunningham.
Yeah,
Corey. The Corey? Yeah, Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
I thought he did an excellent job. You know, it maybe isn't as gory as the second one, but man, did it have some parts in there I was like, whoa, okay. Still very good. Again, like I said, I don't. It may have been higher up on my list had it been, you know, kind of tied with a nice bow, but I don't think it was. It was just tied normally, like your shoes. So yeah, I did enjoy it, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. We haven't really talked about it, but I'm sure you talked about it before, you know, when it came out and stuff. But I thought it was excellent.
So happy
most,
to hear you say that.
Yeah. We generally all sort of we talked about it and all in general liked it, which is a change for any horror podcast. I will say it's funny when you're sort of saying, like, you know, the general consensus on the internet, people really ripped it apart like Kills, because total awkward moment having dinner with Joe Bob and Darcy has a cameo in it, and we're having dinner, and he goes, "Hey, did you see Darcy and Halloween Ends? This is the Friday after," and I watched it Thursday night, and it's Friday, and I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Man, people really hate it." I'm like, dude, she's in the movie, and you're like, and that's how he's like, yeah, man, people really hate it. Like, shut up. Oh, Joe Bob.
Joe Bob's awesome.
Great.
About crawled out of my skin. Fucking awkward.
Yeah, man, I really liked it too. It might be my favorite of the three. It was great. So
Nice.
it's nice to hear just somebody talk nice about that movie. It's great.
And I think a lot of people are predicting, like, give it some time, like Halloween 3 and some of these Halloween 5, you know, and it's like down the line, the only one I think is never going to be loved is Resurrection. But I think eventually,
man.
I think eventually people will recognize that this, again, sort of like we talked about earlier, like, I think not just like Prey, it's sort of like it's a really good movie outside of the Halloween franchise. It's just a good, well-made, good movie, good story. I like it a lot. I think putting it as the third in this franchise hindered it, but as a standalone movie, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's 100% my take on it, and I said that the last time, that on its own, it's awesome. If you're forcing it to be part of this trilogy, that's where it loses it for me a little bit.
Should have maybe been the second one, but
well, it's that argument.
doesn't.
It's that argument again of, like, even if we just had like one little cameo scene in one of the first two movies of that kid, then it wouldn't have been quite as off-putting as being the third part of a trilogy. So, my number 6 has been mentioned a few times already as well, and my number 6 is Glorious. Yes,
glorious.
woo! That is the name of the movie and what I think of it.
Your one-word review of Glorious.
That's right.
Glorious.
My review of Glorious is see title. Yeah, I don't know what else could be said. I feel like we've gushed about it quite a bit. So
We never really talked about, like, the drawing around the hole was fantastic.
that was cool.
It really made it
Yeah.
so much better. It gave us something to
look at, other than a big
It
hole.
put a
in
face.
the
It put a
Right.
face on it. You know. Yeah.
yeah, and the CG wasn't bad. I liked it. They kept it really minimal.
They knew what to show and what not to show.
Yep.
I will
Smart.
say this. I haven't admitted this part yet. So we talked about how Tad watched it, and I'm instantly like, sold, yeah. I went home. I didn't watch it right away, honestly. I didn't watch it right away. I watched the trailer first, and I was like, oh, there's more to this than what I was expecting, because it shows a lot of, like,
The knot in
the psychedelic stuff that happens, and a lot of the more, CGI, like the money shots, I guess you could say. And I'm like, oh, I was hoping for something a little bit more simplistic, but it delivered 1,000% on my expectations when I did finally watch it. And it to me, it sold a lot on J.K. Simmons' performance on it, even though it's all audio. Yeah, and then some really cool gore, and yeah, I don't know what else to add. I love it. It's great. All right, so let's take a break here real quick because there's more to come. So let's take a quick break and hear from our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to so many awesome shows. So many awesome shows. So we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
That's right, the PFPN. Check it out, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. So many good shows. Like 30 some shows.
Check it out.
Do it. Do it now.
Do
All
it.
right, so
Do it.
we're back to the show. We got more movies to talk about. We're gonna move on to number 5. Oh no, we ran out of time. That promo was too
dang it.
long.
Oh, dang it.
So we're gonna have to do the next 5 in the next episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Can you wait that long? Oh, the suspense is killing you, isn't it? Well, tough. You're gonna have to wait, because that is it for this episode. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you on the next episode when we do 5 through 1 of the best of 2022. See you then.
Oh no, could this be the end of?
Attack of the Killer Podcast.